And the winner here does go to the semifinals. Mono.Ferus going to be on first ban, first pick blue side, and there are plenty of first picks for them to choose from. It's just a matter of what kind of team comp do they feel like playing today. You know, Jace, Nunu, Morgana, so many options for him. And a Shen ban going to be coming in first. Solid ban as always.
Oh yeah, there you go. Ban out that Katarina comp.
Oh yes.
Don't even want to see it.
It's a good call. It's a good call.
I was wondering what 4Not was going to do, how they were going to deal with some of the strategies we've seen from Mono. You know, they've been running a number of different ones. They just no fear. Like that's when you watch Mono, you're just, you know, they have no fear going into the games. They do whatever they feel like, and it's been working for them excellently recently.
Yep.
4Not, they've had a number of team changes. They've kind of split up, but this new 4Not team, they're having some decent success, so it's going to be exciting to see.
Yep, and Mono's done very well historically across all the qualifiers for IPL5. They just never been able to actually win one straight out. Alistar going to be banned next there from 4Not, and they've come very close many times. They were in the grand finals for qualifier number 1, lost out to Dynamic. That's back when they were still MTW. Last qualifier, they were knocked out by IG. I think they were caught a little bit off guard, and that's when we first saw, at least on our stream, the Morgana support coming from them, and it didn't actually work out too well. So kind of it was a little shaky to see them try it again, but no, the last time we saw them, but at least this time they had a little bit more success with it. Jace gonna be banned out by Mono.Ferus. So
I'm sorry, Brad. He was yelling at me in chat. He was saying, "Don't tell him to ban the Jace, Baron. Don't tell him."
Well, even in solo queue, I mean, you're seeing the whole guy's been. He's pretty common. He's pretty.
And also,
huge.
He's a champion that you can first pick, but a lot of times he ends up getting to that second and third pick. So
yeah,
that's kind of one of the benefits of that purple side. Which there are a number of benefits to the blue team, but having the second and third pick, usually you can pick up champions. You get the one first pick, and you're like, oh, well, we'll take Ezreal, or we'll take Nunu, or something like that. And the second and third pick gets you a little bit more options. You get all of the rest of those OP champs, I guess you would say. But yeah, so they've got to have a lot of options right now. They go ahead with the Morgana right off the bat, and I'm kind of curious where they're going to go with this, because it could just be that Katarina isn't necessarily the idea behind the strategy. They're happy with the Morgana support. And, they might run her mid, but they might just be happy with Morgana support and capable of running her in any comp.
They could have, or they could have just been trolling us this entire time. It's like, yeah, we're just, what if, like, just now, just for today, they just stopped cold and just never played Morgana support again, and they're just, like, making us always consider if they're ever going to run her support ever again.
Well, that would be terrible, because Muffin Cutie is very good at Morgana support, so...
Yeah, this is true.
If you want to win, you don't usually stop playing cold turkey, something that you're good at.
Well, I guess then he'll just have to play Leona.
Yeah, that's true. But, yeah, we'll see. It is interesting, though, if they are playing this support, they could play her mid, but that tendency to first pick Morgana, very few teams do that. It's been a while since we've seen a team that does that. Meet Playground, they've been first picking Morgana for some time now. Pobelter really likes playing Morgana a lot, but very few teams do that. So it just goes to show how much they value her as a pick, especially considering that Rengar is still open.
Ooh.
And I'm curious if this is going to be a Brad Rengar, or if this is going to be a JD Wu Rengar, because JD Wu, he played against Nick Wu's Rengar, and he knows how incredibly strong it can be in the jungle.
Yeah, Rengar, and if you haven't seen the stats, of course they've been posted everywhere on the internet lately. Rengar's win stats recently are through the roof, like even better than Rumble's win percentage during his huge heyday not too long ago. And he's a great jungler. He's a great top lane. He can sustain. He can do so much burst damage really quick with just 2 Q slashes. It is absurd how much damage Rengar can do no matter the position. But he's also going to be grabbed up with the Janna. Janna supports not someone we've been seeing a whole lot of lately, but she's still good. She's still fantastic. The shield and the ultimate. They
did actually run Janna against Troopers though, so
yes.
There's a couple of nice things in that situation. You said you didn't see the game.
Just because I didn't see it doesn't mean I didn't read notes and stuff.
But anyway, so they ran it there. They're comfortable there. One of the nice things is the movement speed that you give to your jungler. So with someone like Rengar, that's always going to be huge. But if you have kind of a melee team, a team that lacks a lot of mobility, like they had used Mordekaiser in that in one of their matches, they used the Mordekaiser mid, then that Janna passive can also help, but she also provides a lot of nice control in lane. So we'll see where she goes from there. Aphromoo going with Draven.
He's going to do it. There you go.
He's going for it. So Draven, Morgana, likely going to be in the bottom lane, but having that Vladimir as well. And we've seen, this kind of strategy from Mono before. Yes. Mono.
Oh yeah.
Just this time minus the Katarina.
Yeah, and we've seen Aphromoo on Draven before. It's a very huge.
So you have to say it like this. Draven.
All right, okay. Let me start over. Well, we've seen Draven before in the bot lane on Aphromoo, and the damage potential from him is, that's what Draven does. He's got a lot of early game damage. Once you get those spinning axes going, there's quite a bit damage to be dealt with. And once he starts getting into those big items, once he starts getting a Bloodthirster and building up from there, he becomes like one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle for Mono's team. And we've seen it before too. Like he is still a squishy champ. He still can be caught out, and they do have to be careful, especially in the face of a Rengar. If he is going to be in the jungle, once he hits 6, he can stealth in Q, and that actually could be enough to take him out.
Yeah, the burst damage, is very strong, and I don't know, we'll have to see. Draven early levels is just one of the strongest champs in the game. It is interesting to see the Draven versus Varus matchup, though, because this is Aphromoo we're talking about. He plays those ADs. He'll play Varus, and we've seen it in the past. So I don't know. It'll be kind of interesting to see how Roshan does in this kind of a role. And how he does with the Varus, but we'll have to check it out. They do have Malphite as well, and Mono. This is gonna be kind of interesting to see where they go with it. I really like the Diana idea because they need someone. They want to have someone that's very aggressive that can dive into the enemy, make use of that black shield. Diana's perfect for that. So that kind of takes that place of Katarina as that burst nuker, and Diana's just such a strong champion overall.
And it looks like we're gonna have Olaf in the jungle. Going to be getting aggressive. He can do quite a bit of damage to you, and also have that true damage against someone who sustains like a Rengar later on can be huge. I'm also looking at 4Nothing's team too, because remember, Mono, when we first saw them kind of try like the Morgana support and stuff, they didn't run Draven, they ran Varus instead.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite work out because Varus, he's not the biggest damage dealer in the world. He does have the amazing ult, but it just felt like Varus was just falling short the entire time.
I mean, it was a close game. It almost, it was versus IG, who was a very good team. Varus did very well through most of the game, and Varus does have a lot of damage. Varus actually has a little bit more AoE damage than Draven. Draven's only single target, but yeah, I mean, they're different champions. Draven is much shorter range, but he's a single target damage dealer. Whereas Varus is a little bit more aggressive.
Wow. Well, tell me that was legit. Please tell me that was a legit pick. Because if that was a Shaco that I saw in a 4-Not,
I believe it.
I believe it.
We've seen JD Woot jungle Shaco before, so
yeah.
I'm all for it, and it kind of goes with what we've seen from V-Man 7. So he runs whatever the hell he wants mid, and it seems he's going to be running AP Malphite. So that's what it seems like. We'll have to see if that's the case or not. But it seems like he's running AP Malphite, which will actually do very well versus Diana. It's going to be kind of interesting to see. The Diana versus Malphite lane. Malphite should be able to bully around Diana a little bit since she's a melee. Potentially shut her down. We'll have really good burst damage.
And Malphite mid is actually something very familiar. With Ferus also. Back when they were still as MTW, did something that they've run on occasion.
I don't remember Mandatory Cloud running it. I know we've seen a couple of people.
I know still back when Atlanta was on the team too, and any team that Atlanta's on, sometimes you'll see them pick on occasion a few weird things.
Yeah, I remember Moscow 5 has run it. I remember I think Curse EU and some other EU teams have run it. I don't remember, but I guess they are the kind of team to go for any of those unusual strategies, and it can work very well at times. So I'm sure they're well accustomed to it, and like you said, have run it before.
So there's so it was a placeholder. Last pick for 4Not is actually going to be the Mordekaiser. So
I was actually thinking it would be Mordekaiser because, like I said, they had the Mordekaiser with the Janna setup. The movement speed helps him out a little bit. And V-Man 7 actually, with his Mordekaiser, he runs movement speed, Quints, and Masteries. I'll go into that in a second.
Yeah.
So Mordekaiser, usually one of the biggest weaknesses to Mordekaiser is that you can kite him fairly easily. But when you run all this movement speed, it kind of negates that issue a little bit, so he can just go pretty tanky early on. And Mordekaiser actually does very well versus Diana, so that's a pretty strong matchup there. Mordekaiser should be able to win that lane.
And we also got JD Wu and One Man Brad switching back and forth, back and forth. Who's going jungle? Who's going top? I don't even know. I didn't even know you could swap champs that fast.
Yeah, that was pretty quick.
That's pretty fast. Like they're just they got those keys. They are ready.
They're gonna bug out their clients though if they keep on swapping that many times. The clients can be like, no, you have a maximum of 5 stops. And they're like, but we need to do one more.
They're gonna keep swapping, and somehow they're gonna get 2 Rengars on their team. That'd be hilarious.
I think they would be okay with that.
I think most anyone would be okay with that.
But we'll see. One Bad Bread. Is he swapping? He is playing Malphite.
Malphite top.
JD Wu picking up a little bit from Nick Wu. I'm sure he's played it himself a number of times, but Nick Wu really abused the hell out of him in the game, the games where they were playing Troopers. And there was some controversy with the TSM tournament this weekend, where Troopers was trying to play that Rengar pick. But yeah, so we'll see. It is very strong in the jungle, and that is kind of partially the benefit of having that Olaf. So Olaf is one of the best duelers in the game in the jungle, but he also has a really nice jungling speed. So that'll help him, against that Rengar. Also, he can pop his ultimate if he's going to go down, or if Rengar's, hunting him down and gets the snare in the middle of the team, he can be like, oh shit, I got to get out of here. So pop that R, Ragnarok, and be good.
Should be fine. Should be okay. And we've seen it before. We're going to see it again. Muffin Cutie down bot lane with the support Morgana. If you have not seen it before, that stun, if it lands, that is a lot of guaranteed damage for the Draven every time he comes on in. So, and last time we saw it, it's pretty on point. Like the tail end, nearly like the last few pixels of the skill shot. Muffin Cutie was just so on point.
Yeah, no, he is absolutely stellar with his snares. Taking a look at Runes and Masteries real quick, V-Man 7 running 2109, so lots of movement speed, both Quints and Masteries. Last time he was playing, he actually had an accident where he had a lot of mana regen and whatnot. So
very important on
not
Mordekaiser.
An issue this game. He's going to be good, but that's actually a lot of movement speed at level 1 for Mordekaiser. So that allows him a lot of mobility, which will be very strong. 921 and 0 on Malphite. Ability power. So he has some ability power in the top lane, which isn't something you see a lot. You see a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
But that will allow him to harass Vladimir a little bit more.
Yeah, and sometimes you've also lately been seeing quite a bit of mana regen actually going on him on top lane, just so he can stay in lane longer.
A lot of mana regen on Diana, so needs that spam ability against Mordekaiser. That's going to be key. He's probably going to need to farm a little bit more with his Q than you would normally need to against the Mordekaiser, just because Mordekaiser's going to bully Diana out of that mid lane. So that's going to help him out. HP regen, 8.1 for balls in the top lane. So for Vladimir, he is running 2190, but he's running a lot of HP regen, which is interesting. And that actually is a really good decision against Malphite, because Malphite, he is kind of slow harass. He's not going to have enough harass to wear him down early on. And Vladimir actually does very well versus Malphite. It's a lane that Vladimir excels in, because you have that constant Vladimir harass to wear down the shield. We actually saw earlier today, it was Soaz versus, who was he laning against?
Who's he leaning? He was leaning
versus Meteor Maker's Kuban, I think.
Yeah, the same matchup.
Yeah, so it was versus Kuban, and Kuban was playing Vladimir versus the Malphite, and he was able to beat up on Soaz. Soaz had some DC issues earlier in the game. He was kind of struggling with that, but regardless, it is a matchup that's kind of in favor of balls. And having that HP regen will definitely help him as well, particularly having the Ignite when Malphite's going with the teleport. That actually gives him even more lane advantage, though the teleport will allow One Bad Brad to roam a little bit and help his team out.
Yeah. Now, did we, I forget, did we actually see any health regen on V-Man?
Health regen, no.
No,
he runs movement speed.
Which, that's right, he ran to movement speed instead. But health regen is also not something that'd be too out of the question for Mordekaiser to run also. But... remember, though, with that movement speed and also with the passive from Janna, coming on, and he will be more mobile. He can also take short field trips to go onto the Wraith camps also with all that mobility.
Yeah, that's pretty common for Mordekaiser. And
yep.
You know, V-Man 7, I think he was at like 90 CS 10 minutes into the game, and he hit 200 around 18 or something like that. So he was definitely farming well in those matchups. And that's going to be, you know, something for them. They need to make sure they can shut him down. The only concern is later on in the game, they have a lot of burst damage that'll work very well versus Mordekaiser, and they have some nice CC, particularly with Morgana in the support, that will be able to shut down Mordekaiser a little bit. So that's going to be kind of difficult for him in those team fights to not be kited down or bursted down in those fights. Yeah,
and we've said it before too, every time we see a Mordekaiser, the magic number in terms of farm for Mord is 200 creeps by 20 minutes.
Ooh,
so make sure you got your math.
Bind.
Muffin Cutie almost getting some of that one, and very aggressive going in. Man, Mono, they want to make sure that the 4Not knows that they're looking for that invade. Did they place down a ward also?
Yes, over by
they
Janna. But, oh, no, and wait. It died. I think they killed it.
Yeah, 4Not did manage to kill the ward as it was placed in the bush.
So, Morgana have?
Yep. Morgana's only got three, so yeah, that was one.
Okay.
That was one put in there. So, and yeah, if you have 3 champs that just happen to be in the neighborhood of that ward when it goes down, everyone gets 1 auto attack and it goes down before it vanishes.
I think she only starts with, you would only start with 3. So she didn't actually place anyone. I thought she did.
Well, no, if you have the gold masteries, you can start off with 4.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. I know it's like borderline for the 2 of them. But Xmithy coming up, he wants to steal it, so he drops a ward and actually smites over the wall.
Nice.
So that'll be a nice little boon for him. But
very well done.
Yeah, it will actually make him kind of vulnerable in the blue, but they're all split up anyway, so they're actually not going to, you know, pressure him at all.
Everyone's already back.
Yeah. So it's not a concern. Like, if the team was there, then maybe you would have to fear his blue being stolen, because Rengar could just kind of walk up and take it.
Yeah, but now Xmithy will be there starting off on the blue. Rengar, you're going to get a little bit of help from V-Man. As he's starting off on the Wraiths, but now One Bad Bread looking to Leisha that red, and JD will going to be starting there. So both of the junglers starting up near the top lane, and JD has also got all of his ferocity. So if he wants to gank, that initial burst damage can be huge, but we'll see if he chooses to use it. Muffin Cutie starting off with those binds, and Parole shielding the initial axe with the shield from Roshan, but look at that chunk. All of that chunk coming in. Muffin Cutie's leading the minions on through the bush, but Aphromoo is doing very well for himself. Level 2, a little bit of a boon. The bind barely missing the Varus, but Aphromoo still looking for more damage. Exhaust going down. Roshan is ignited. Aphromoo forcing out the flash from Parole. Also, Janna. Does he got it? No, the potion.
The health bot just barely ticking enough.
The potion.
I was like sitting there hesitating whether or not I should look at mid or not, because Xmithy was diving onto V-Man 7, but they were able to pick up that kill there.
Rengar going bot lane. He's making an appearance. He wants to help out. Muffin Cutie going to be caught going in front of the bush. The leap, making him flash out. Parole still with a shred of life. Decided to stay in the lane. JD can't get the kill. Yes, Muffin Cutie does go down to the Rengar. Bot lane is a very volatile war zone at the moment. This is getting a little crazy.
Yeah, that was a huge turnaround.
And now comes Xmithy.
He's coming in. He's going to be able to pick up Parole, I think, but Parole is kiting him. Rengar slows him down. Just enough. He goes down. But JD Wu is 2-0 right now. I thought so I guess he didn't get a nick onto Aphromoo. But
yeah, and that's also you know, fighting playing against Rengar 101. Bushes with a Rengar in it are bad. He will leap to you. You will die that much quicker.
And already Balls is harassing down pretty significantly, so he needs all of the mana he can get to sustain in that lane. But Vladimir just, you know, being able to trade harass very easily, but then also able to wear down the shield and being aggressive against V-Man 7. And that's actually interesting that he's able to exchange fairly evenly, but V-Man 7 doesn't have the shield to his benefit.
Well, had the shield, and Diana hits him with a Q, and then it's all gone. JD Wu waiting in the bush, waiting for his time to strike. Target going down onto Xmithy, looking to regen, roars off once, twice, gets another jump onto Olaf, and then he's satisfied with his results. He just wanted to get him off of the red to delay it a little bit. Ward also being placed during the run back, Roshan throwing one down, but it looks like JD was going to be walking right back in. Knowing that Olaf has to back, he will now confidently walk back in through, grab the red. Bush is warded. Mono does know he's going for it, and he sees Muffin Cutie move up accordingly, and he's hesitant, and rightly so.
Yeah, so he is going to back out. I thought the red pulled a little bit further. I know it doesn't hit the bush on this side, but I thought it pulled a little bit further than that. But
yeah.
Even so, he is going to back off. Just another blue wraith, so he gets that.
Nice.
Smithy trying to chase him down, but he's going to be okay there. I have to say though, I really like this combo. Oh, another bind, almost hitting Parole. And it's something we've gone into before, but just kind of a recap for you guys. Morgana as a support, she doesn't have any, she doesn't have a heal, and she doesn't have easy harass damage. Like, it's all reliant on hitting the bind. And as a result, that kind of inconsistency, it hurts her in a lot of situations. It makes her a little bit more vulnerable in lane. Smithy just barely able to get it. He actually missed Smite, but JD Woot went a little bit too late. However, if you do hit a bind with Morgana, then you're just going to absolutely crush, particularly when paired with the high damage dealing AD carry. And to make up for Morgana's weaknesses, because she is kind of weak in the first couple of levels while her cooldowns are pretty long, Aphromoo is running Draven, who's one of the strongest AD carries at level 1 and 2 in the game, and he can control basically any lane on his own. You saw the damage he had earlier, but Muffin Cutie just waiting in the bush, lying in wait, waiting for the prey to come out, and Aphromoo can just clean house afterwards.
Yep. So Aphromoo looking to CS a little bit. He's actually waiting for Parole's actually going to be pushing the wave naturally into him at this point. So Aphromoo just taking minimal CS, waiting for the wave, and he can actually freeze it right in front of his tower. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Parole to farm, and also leaving things open because Olaf is not too far behind. He can actually come in and make an attempt on either in the mid or at the bot, choosing for the mid, waiting in that brush. JD Woo's not too far behind. You got Ignite coming down in. Ultimate from Mordekaiser actually going down onto Smithy, but can Rengar pile on the damage? No, forcing out the Ghost Mandatory Cloud along with Smithy. So much burst, take out V-Man with very little trouble.
Yeah, Diana was able to hold him in place, which is kind of interesting. So Mordekaiser usually once he hits 6, he's a little bit safer, but Olaf has enough damage to follow up and allow for that kill, and Diana just has enough CC to hold him in place. Waiting in the shadows for JD Woot, might be able to come in with the Q and an R. He's going to go in for this kill. I think he's going to have it. It is very close. One more ult, he gets the dash, and that was actually a really cool play because right here, it's just right in the shadows, right past that corner, and JD Woot had no idea he was standing there.
Yeah, and that's also good calculation, good instinct on Mandatory Cloud to know how much damage his champ can deal when he's going in for those kills. So very well done. He's still managing his mana pretty well. He's going to be sticking around lane just for a little while longer. Muffin Cutie, that bush is warded. Looked for the bind on the Parole, did not get it, mile off. But we've seen him get those binds in trickier spots before, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue later on. Aphromoo getting damage down on the Parole in retreat. The shield actually doing work, doing pretty well for Parole, despite all the damage coming on in. So Roshan on point for the time being.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the interesting things. It's really good for 4Not to get strong ward coverage against Morgana, and that's actually an interesting bush to ward, which is, Gianna wants to keep a ward here because Morgana, one of the strengths of Morgana, V-Man, he goes down. Once again to X-Smithy and Mandatory Cloud. Vladimir's actually really close to just diving Brad.
He's doing it.
Just goes for it. It's kind of curious. The ultimate, though, he actually will hold in place, but I think he's going to get out of there. JD Woo, he is only level 5. Morgana, if you didn't know the interaction, when Morgana's sitting in the bush, a lot of skill shot champions do it, but Morgana in particular, you can throw off your bind from in the bush, and it's actually an invisible bind coming out of the bush, which is why it's really important to get that bush. The snare from Varus turning around, the ultimate from, Draven trying to pick him up. He is just barely surviving. Roshan picks up the kill, and Muffin Cutie just getting the bind, so they're able to turn that around and even exchange support for support, grabbing those AD carries, and Olaf's actually maybe going to trap him here. Muffin Cutie looking for that one last bind. Can he pick it up?
He's waiting for the shield to go away first. There you go. Oh, now misses. Juke out of the bush, and here comes V-Man to lay down the hammer on the Muffin Cutie. Wonderful juke from Roshan. Fantastic work.
Yeah, so X-Smithy does get the blue, though, but again, that's kind of what I was saying. Roshan, really nice job getting the ward in there because that is a common bush for Morgana to hide in and get those, sneaky snares from. But Mordekaiser, he doesn't really have enough mobility usually to help out in those small skirmishes, but this game's kind of different. So 400 movement speed already, only at boots level 1, And JD Woot, he is sitting at level 6 coming mid, and this is the danger of the Rengar. If they can pick this up against Diana, it will be very difficult for him to survive against this. If he decides, well, you know, I guess not, but if he just does decide to come into that mid lane, the quick burst damage and the invisibility is very difficult to deal with.
Yep, and not to mention Mordekaiser ult is up, so to have having Diana Ghost would be very good for the pushing. Get a little bit more damage onto that mid-tier 1, and Mandatory Cloud is now naturally pushing on into the tower. So we will see if JD Wu is going to be making an engagement. No, he's actually falling on back to the Wolves. Going to be farming on in. Olaf going to be sneaking into enemy territory only to realize that the Wraiths are gone, and maybe looking to see elsewhere. Red's gone. He's going to find that out. Small golems are still up for grabs, but as we've seen before, One Bad Brad getting harassed very much so there in the top lane. Olaf may just help out for the kill there once again.
Yeah, he's been worn down the entire game by Vladimir. He is playing kind of defensively right now. I think he's actually recalling. No, he is not. So they could actually dive him here. He is in a vulnerable situation.
He knows something's up. Yeah. He knows something's up.
Well, he knows he could just almost die to Vladimir himself. So
right.
Just backs off, but they will be able to pressure this tower very effectively. They can drop this tower if they want to.
Ball's going to be going beyond the turret, grabbing those Wraiths before they ever hit, grabbing those creeps before they ever hit the rest of the line, and making the push a little bit easier for the tier 1 top. JD Wu actually coming on top, does not know Olaf is here, could be in a very rude spot. Meanwhile, bot lane, we got the Morgana coming down on a parole. The second proc going to be grabbing it, so kill going to Morgana. And you also got the flash coming on in. One Bad Brad actually teleported down to bot. My binding from Morgana. Gonna keep it still after move. Will he actually be able to get out of this one? Tornado coming in. There's One Bad Brad looking for the Q. Wants something, anything, but he may actually die to the turret damage. After move is actually still alive. Auto attacks from Janna will not be enough. Roshan going down. Muffet Cutie getting the credit for that one.
Can he pick up Brad? Brad's
wait,
in the bush
is warded. Muffet Cutie, if you get this bind, auto attack something, anything, gets the bind. Auto attacks. Muffet Cutie grabs that one too. Damn, dude.
And I'm actually going to go back because there was a lot of action going on top while all this was happening. But really impressive play down in the bottom. I can't believe Aframu survived that fight. But Smithy coming up top when JD Woot came in. I think he actually gets away. So yeah, he does throw the ultimate to get away. But then they are just constantly pressuring this top lane.
Wow.
The tower just about to go down. But Mordekaiser also vulnerable in the mid lane. B-Man 7. They will be able to circle around them here. And as Diana pushes in, Olaf and Vladimir both coming in from behind. They're able to grab that as well. So a huge kill swing for Mono right now. They're just putting on a lot of pressure onto 4Not, and 4Not is collapsing underneath it.
It is 12-4. It is a 6K lead, about to become a 7K lead following this Dragon, which should be no huge issue for Mono to grab. There you go, Smithy getting that one. Man, I'm I'm ever more impressed with Mono.Ferus every single time I see him. The jukes coming in, the wonderful plays, and somehow taking disadvantage of situations and turning it around and making it a net gain.
Yeah, no, it has been really impressive watching them play. But well, I don't know, we'll see. It looked like bot lane might be in a nice situation versus Aframu and Muffin Cutie, but they just really quickly turn things around. The dueling potential of the Morgana and Draven is just phenomenal, because even without any items, Draven has plenty of damage to win almost any matchup, and then Morgana has the CC and the protection to keep him alive. He is alone for a second here, so Parole and Roshan could pursue him a little bit, but really he's just generally safe. That's not a very aggressive lane he has to deal against.
Yeah, and he's still also got the ward in the top brush. For the time being, is going to be going down pretty shortly. But even then, we've seen him before. He can freeze the lane over by his own tower. Parole's naturally going to be pushing on into him, so it's not going to be too big of a deal. Mandatory Cloud has complete control of the mid. V-Man is so scared to even go in and not even just get an auto attack, but just to even get just to farm with his skills. He's afraid to do so.
Yeah, no, he is in a kind of dangerous situation right here. But Smithy, I'm assuming he's handing off the blue to Mandatory Cloud. So, excuse me. they'll be very safe there. But we'll see. They have the control in the top lane is going to make things very difficult for 4Not, because not only are they 7K behind right now, but Vladimir is just completely dominating that lane. And I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen Rengar be a little bit more aggressive yet. He does have mobility boots now. He's 2-1, but that came from the fight early in the game bot. But he hasn't used his ultimate in an offensive manner yet. And the killing potential on Rengar's ultimate is just so phenomenally strong, and particularly now with the movement speed boost. You just ult, run down a lane, and kill whoever is in that lane. Like, it's almost impossible to defend against Rengar's ganks. So that kind of makes it surprising to me that we haven't seen those ganks from Rengar yet.
And you also see he did buy the Bone Tooth necklace. He also bought a Dorn's Blade also. He needs something. He needs a little bit of sustain, needs a little bit of health. He needs something just to fight, to push back on. Got one longsword, maybe looking to buy another, try and get that Brutalizer build going. A little bit cooldown, and you got Roshan being cooped. I can't even say Janna before she's already dead. Jeez, and it looks like Parole may actually be next on the list. You got Olaf coming on in. You got the Varus ult, and Mandatory Cloud just tanking the turret like a boss. Two quick kills. Jeez.
6-0-1. That's tough to deal with. JD Wu, he does pick it up though. He has to get out of here. The bind hits him. He is going to go down. Aftermoo picks up the kill. At 6-1 now, but you know, he has so much damage. To just be able to dive underneath the turrets is just incredible. Like, I thought he might wait for the rest of his team, but he didn't even care. He was just too strong for them.
And then, you know, again, you just try retreating to a bush. No, he will follow. He will leap. It's not going to be too huge. Xmithie forcing out V-Man, and there's the ghost pop. Xmithie wants the kill. Should be no huge issue. There you go. Mordekaiser still managing to get the ult down before he dies, but it's okay. Xmithie will just regen all that. You can just pop and eat, yeah, you can just pop a W. He'll be fine. He'll be okay. Janna's
like, you are mine.
You are gone. Roshan is just so hesitant to even go on to the bush in which was warded earlier.
Because he's going to die if he goes into the bush.
He does get the slow. Xmithie looking for the axe. He got the shield coming from Morgana to prevent any more slows. But they're satisfied. They got the blue. They're out of there.
Yeah, and I think they recognize, they could have actually considered going into that. I think they recognize, all right, so Rengar, we don't exactly know where he is, and they're actually kind of baiting us here. Like, it seemed like they were baiting them. And so they didn't want to pull themselves into a bad fight. You know, Xmithie was a little bit low, so they do back off there, but getting the early turret advantage is huge. And Mandatory Cloud is in a great position to just roam around and pick up a number of kills, because he's farming well, 140 CS at this point in the game. He's out farming Mordekaiser pretty significantly, which is, you know, huge. But then also having the DFG and almost finishing the Abyssal.
Yeah, when the Abyssal comes in, that's going to be even bigger for the damage out of the balls. Gets the ultimate down on both JD and on the one bad Brad. And he's kiting as he's retreating. You got the bullet toss gun. He's going to be he's close. He's very close. JD Wu will actually just edge out very quickly as he recognizes he's incredibly low, about 150 health he leaves that fight with, and just allows Malphite to get the auto attack and finish off the job. But yeah, that was very risky. Rengar almost died there. Aftermoo is ulted from the Varus. He throws on the ult response, but Muffet Cutie, very nicely done. Janna ulting in response to the Morgana ult to keep her away. Parole is shielded, looking for chunk damage on the Muffet Cutie. Killing time for Aftermoo to come on back. He is exhausted, but can he deal enough damage? Flashes on in, and a double KO there down bot lane between our ADs. But here comes Olaf around on the side. Can he make something happen? Roshan actually, he's indecisive. He doesn't know. He knows the ward is there.
How does
Roshan still has blue warded, but he's like, where do I go? And now he's just looking at kill time, waiting for Rengar to actually come on in to dissuade Olaf. But the axe, nice flash out. Roshan with the ganks today, man. He's the jukes. This cannot be ganked like that.
Yeah, just barely getting out of there. I was surprised that Xmithie could even see him, but he barely had him in the wards. Xmithie going after JD Wu. Malphite is here as well, though, so he gets some quick damage, but he has to get out of there. He has the Morgana shield, but he needs to back off. V-Man 7 actually in pursuit. JD Wu as well. If he can pop his ultimate, it is down currently, but he tries to get what he can. He will drop. He actually picks up Rengar in the process, but there he goes. Malphite picks it up, actually. But in the meantime, Vladimir is just continuing to farm up top and is just so far ahead right now. 186 CS compared with Malphite at this point in the game. He is just like miles ahead. He's streets ahead currently.
Diana and Vlad are actually both out farming Mord, which is just such a strange concept to me. It's like Mord being out farmed by a top laner? How is this happening? This is so strange to me. I don't understand. But this is Balls essentially with a free lane.
Yeah.
Whenever Malphite comes in to try and harass, he just throws off a Q or two, and that's it. He's already burned a shield. One Bad Brad cannot contend with that at this point, considering how well he's been farming. Mandatory Cloud on his own, looking to push up to mid. Ball's going to join control right after he takes the blue wave. JD Wu from the bush gets the leap down on the Balls and forces out the pool, but here comes Mandatory Cloud. The Malphite ult not going to be getting Vlad as a part of that one. He throws down the ult. Can he make something happen? Morgana shield down on the Balls to make sure he does not fall, and Morgana ult down onto the Rengar, keeping him busy, while Parole is actually too busy dying. Roshan cannot protect him enough.
Yeah, Vladimir with the beautiful flash right as Malphite was coming in was just barely able to avoid that Malphite ultimate, and they were able to turn it around. They just keep on living with almost 0 HP. Varus has done pretty well outfarming Aphromoo in the bottom lane, and a lot of that has to do with all the aggression. So because they're constantly fighting, when you go back to base and whatnot, you're losing opportunities to farm. But even so, Aphromoo is doing well for himself. The rest of his team is incredibly strong. He's going for the kill. He picks it up, and Draven is here as well, slowing him underneath. Can Aphromoo pick it up? One more attack. The red buff, I think he has it.
Minions.
The double kill.
Minions and the red buff help him out with that
and
one.
The Rengar are the Draven passive for the most part.
Vlad getting very low top lane, but it's okay. After a little bit of farm, he'll be fine. And once again, Roshan just trying to get away from everyone from Mono.Ferus. This is a very, very entertaining game. 12K gold lead for Mono. 22-9 in terms of kills. All of the tier 1s have been swept. Now Mono's looking to press in to try and grab some tier 2s. They can also grab the Dragon here for practically, well, yeah, for free, because Varus is too busy on his own, just looking to sustain farm in the bot lane. Granted, yes, he is farming better than Aphromoo, but he has died more, which means that he spent less time in the lane. And now Aphromoo is actually getting quite a few kills to his credit also. So that's also going to be racking up equivalent creep score.
I'm sorry, Parole. You're probably going to die. He's actually close to picking up Muffin Cutie, though. The exhaust
This is
goes
killing
down,
time.
But Diana is coming in. We'll be able to grab this. We'll be able to come in. Smithy gets one last attack.
Wow.
But, actually saving his ultimate and stuff. Oh, I guess his ult was still on cooldown. I was like, what is he doing? This is kind of weird to see Diana just like walk up. He wasn't like trying to burst it down.
He used the ult on Morgana right before Diana came in. It was like,
no. Diana didn't use the ult.
Oh, Diana didn't use the ult, yeah.
Which is weird considering Diana's ult's on such a low cooldown. He actually used it up above on Rengar on his way down, but he's able to pick up the kill easily. 23-9 currently for Mono.Ferus. Just absolutely handing it to him right now. And 4Not, they've done some really nice things. They have a really nice strategy. They just fell behind very early. Bot lane was, fairly even back and forth, but
top lane, dude.
Top and mid just absolutely snowballed very early on.
Yeah, and no GP10s in the world, no jungle assistance can really help. It's that big of a deficit. Ignite go down to One Bad Brad. Aphromoo looking for the chunk and the ultimate blind. One Bad Brad, no, don't walk back into it. That was very close. I think he was thinking about it. He was like, I'm waiting for it to come back. I don't know when it's going to come back. But there you go, the flash and the one more auto attack will grab the credit for Aphromoo. Mandatory Cloud doing what he's been doing this entire game. Back and forth dives while under tower. It's no big deal. You're tanky enough to deal all that damage, and you have the burst is more than enough to take someone out at this point. Ball's looking for damage on a Roshan, dancing in between the turrets. I don't think he even cares at this point. He's like, this is free damage. I don't mind.
He's kind of close to going down, though. He's going to have to watch out. He does dodge that snare from JD Wu, but they will have to back off. Diana jumping over the wall, hits the ultimate, or hits the E as well, and then backing off as Muffin Kitty comes in with the snare. Aphromoo actually picking up the first kill. Has to turn on to Parole, though. Parole, it is a 3v1. He doesn't have much hope there. All 5 members there now. Aphromoo taking the turret for a second, but they pick up another kill. We'll be able to push in.
This is, now at this point, everyone's just screwing around, killing time, waiting for Mandatory Cloud to get into the fight. You got V-Man, can't even contest here, and that's actually going to be an ace. Shut down coming in, courtesy of the Mordekaiser ult coming in. Just barely got it, but that's okay. They know it's over. GG Mono.Ferus. Mono.Ferus, man. They're in a very good spot to take the final qualifier. They've been doing so well. Still not even over. I mean, this is only game 1. We still got one more to go.
Honestly, I think Mono is the favorite to win this at this point. The entire qualifier number 4, with the way they are playing.
Yeah.
They are, the big dogs. They are just, unbelievable. It's going to be interesting to see how people start to try and deal with them for not just, collapsing there. They really struggled in a lot of different areas. Mono was able to just bully them around. And, once you have an early lead, you can continue to push it. But Mono just being very aggressive the entire game. They like pushing early on. It's kind of that same philosophy that IG's been saying, which is, we're not going to sit back and farm. A lot of teams kind of sit back, wait until the mid game to fight.
Right.
Mono just likes pursuing it. They like going for really aggressive early fights. That you can see that in the bot lane. Having Draven, who's one of the strongest dueling champions in the game, Aframu's just like, hey, yo, Muffin Cutie, line me up. We are going to brawl with some guys. We're going to take them down.
You my bro. You're my corner man. You're my cut man.
They're just it's brutal. Like watching their play style, and they run really interesting champions.
Yeah.
Whatever they feel comfortable with, that they think is going to have an interesting synergy. Their team fighting potential would have been phenomenal. They have great AOE. They have assassination with Olaf and with Diana. They have a lot of physical damage as well. So it's. They have these very just incredible varied strategies that we're seeing some from other teams, but Mono just mind-blowing. I mean, they really are impressive.
Now, 4Not though, they did have the comp where if they managed to make it healthily into like the mid game, the damage would have been there. They could have been able to do something, but as we always say, you have to get there first. Mordekaiser just could not get his farm on. Malphite was just so denied at our top lane.
I also think that some of the champions, so 4Not, they came in with the game plan, and we'd seen that game plan work versus Super Supers. It's an exciting strategy. The Mordekaiser, does work if you can get Mordekaiser farmed out of that early stage, but Mordekaiser, he's not a mobile champion.
No.
Varus is not a mobile champion. Malphite, he's generally going to sit in the top lane a little bit, so you kind of ignore him. But the rest of their carries, they're not mobile champions. And Mono, because they go for such aggressive play styles, they go to force these fights and whatnot. I think you need champions that have strong mobility or kiting potential, so that you can get out of these fights. You can't allow Mono to bully you around, because the issue is with Mordekaiser, he basically has to sit there. He's like, okay, you want to fight? I guess I have no choice in the matter, and I'm going to lose. So, when Olaf comes in as a jungler, which Olaf was a really strong jungle pick versus Mordekaiser, because it does lack that mobility. You hit one axe on him, and you're able to chase him down, kill him easily. Olaf has enough damage. He doesn't really have a lot of options there. So, it'd be nice to see them with a team that's a little bit more mobile. Rengar be a little bit more aggressive with the ganks. That's something that, they were kind of on the defensive the entire game. They never really took it to Mono. They did try and, be very aggressive and take it to them a little bit in the bottom lane. So that was nice.
And when you're not that mobile, even a Janna passive is not going to be enough to help save you. Game number 2 going to be coming up in just a little bit. If Mono.Ferus wins this next one, they're going straight on to the semifinals. Mono.Ferus versus 4Not. Game number 2, IPL5 qualifier number 4 for the NA. We will be back